So Donald Trump is a weird liar, an abrasive, aggressive liar, saying lies about things that are just so easily fact-checked, saying lies about things that are just not mathematically possible. And yet somehow, for some reason, for so long, MAGA world hangs on every single word as though it were gospel from on high. Unsurprising, since they are in a cult. But I have two examples. Yesterday, he gave an address in the White House to members of Congress, talking about prices and a whole bunch of other conspiracy theories. But there's two things that you need to see. For one, if you got a MAGA person in your life, share this video with them. That Donald Trump is not this guy who's playing 12-dimensional chess to own the libs. He's just an addled, demented old man who's trying to keep himself out of trouble and keep the rest of us from knowing all the sordid details about his best friendship with notorious child abuser Jeffrey Epstein. That's what's taking place right now. That's why every one of these speeches, every one of these appearances, all of these clips, all of these posts on social media, that's their one directive, is to try to get people to stop paying attention to his decades-long best friendship with an abuser of children. So this first clip is Donald Trump going into the mathematic impossibilities of how he's going to lower drug prices. And you'll never believe just how much he thinks he can accomplish that defies reality. And then we're going to talk about gas prices, and we're going straight to the source to show you visually just how much he's lying. First, let's start with drug prices.
That's the way it's been for many, many years, where people actually go to Europe in order to buy drugs. When they come back, they'll load it up. In fact, sometimes they get arrested for having so much they think they're drug addicts. They just buy months of supply because it's sometimes 1/10, 1/8, 1/5, 1/2. It's a tremendous difference. And this is for the people in this room, because this is something that nobody else can do. We're going to get the drug prices down, not 30 or 40%, which would be great, not 50 or 60. No, we're going to get them down 1,000%, 600%, 500%, 1,500%. Numbers that are not even thought to be achievable, because I've used a certain talent that I have and convinced the drug companies that you have no choice. The drug companies...
If we sped that up, it could be like one of those auctioneer guys. Do I hear 1,000, 600, 500, 1,500, there? I can't do it, but that's ridiculous. So if you have $100 prescription and he wants to lower it 1,000%, 500%, 600%, 1,500%, they're going to be paying you for the drug. It's the same thing he said with eggs. Eggs are now down 400%. They went from $7 a dozen to you're getting paid $50 to take that dozen of eggs away. And the crowd, yes, dear leader, thank you for this impossible thing you're promising. You're making a promise as president of the United States of America. An impossible promise, just like gas prices. Here he is, saying that when you go out to your districts, you need to start communicating this, talking about this, messaging on this, that we are bringing gas prices down so dramatically that we hit $1.99 per gallon in 5 different states yesterday. They applaud, even though it's a lie. Watch this.
He's either evil or stupid, and either is really not acceptable, but he's not doing a good job, and but he's only going to be there for a short while, not going to be there much longer. Our deregulation efforts are saving the typical family thousands and thousands of dollars. So remember, when you're campaigning, got to remember this: prices are down, groceries are down, oil is down, energy is down, gasoline is we hit $1.99 a gallon today in 5 different states. You know, in California, In California, he keeps adding taxes, you know, when you go to $7, $8. But I mean, they just keep putting taxes on gasoline. It's crazy. I think you ought to take a look at that, Doug. It's ridiculous what he's doing out there. And he's really hurting people a lot. But we have, in free market, we have gasoline that's getting down to the low twos. And in some cases, even breaking that. I think you're going to end up breaking it if Doug does his job with Chris. You're going to be so drill, baby, drill, right, Doug? That's Doug. He really took that theme to heart. He's going wild, actually.
So let us do this. Let's turn to Gas Buddy. It is a website that you can see the map here. We got the little legend down here that I will enlarge and put on the screen. That we're looking for the dark purple. We're looking for the most aggressive purple color on this map, and that will direct us to where gas is the lowest price. Less than $2.22 a gallon. This looks like a pretty dark one. Let's see what that is. Oh, $2.62. 62 cents, 63 cents more than Donald Trump just promised. Where's another one? Let's see. There's a dark one. Ah, $2.62. What's this? Let's see. Texas usually has low gas, right? Here's $2.57, $2.71, $2.72. Where else we got? $2.63. $2.62. It seems that's going to be the lowest. That's because it is. Not a single state. What's this one up in North Dakota? I already went there. $2.62. $2.63. What's this? Hang on, let's go over here. This little one. It's loading. My internet. Well, good. That's a good place to stop because it's all lies. Because there is not a single state in which a $1.99 or lower gas price was registered yesterday or today. Not even $2.50 is a stretch. But Donald Trump is telling them, directing the Republican Party and leaders in the Republican Party to go out there and lie to their constituents and say, look, not here, not you, you're not paying $1.99, but trust us that other people are. When is MAGA going to wake up? When are you out there who are MAGA watching this to troll? To tell me that I'm just some libtard in the here to nerds telling the lies. All you do is lie, liberal. Well, provide me evidence of what Donald Trump having just said being true. Provide it. Bring the receipts. I bring the receipts. That's why I don't respond to comments about what a liar I am. Because what I'm telling you is the truth. I'm going to the source. I'm going to the website that catalogs all of the gas prices in all of the communities, in all of the country. And nowhere is gas $2 a gallon. Just like when it was Biden and he was saying that gas was $7 a gallon, that was also a lie. And he's directing the Republican Party to lie to the American people, to lie to MAGA world. Part of it is to distract from his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and his very likely, his name being contained in the Epstein files on the client list. It's very possible Donald Trump is yeah. Not funny. Funny what I did, not funny what he did. And the Republican Party is here to cover for him. They don't care. This party of family values, this pro-life family, this Christian nation family party is here to cover for a man who is covering for one of his best friends, the child rapist, Jeffrey Epstein.
They said, quote, the president was never in Epstein's office. Is that true?
That's just another blatant lie.
The imperviousness of Donald Trump, his uncanny ability to have his base completely ignore rampant, wild criminality is something of legend. But maybe that's coming to an end, and it would be nice to see that it was Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump's close, decades-long relationship with him that does it. He can't even get out of his own way on the deal. He posted this. I always say tweeted. He tweeted this to True Social yesterday at 3:20 p.m. Eastern time, We had the greatest 6 months of any president in the history of our country. And all the fake news wants to talk about is the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. Oh, sad. One, it's not all the fake news wants to talk about. It's all MAGA world. You fomented conspiracy theory. You normalized it within your party, Donald Trump. And now it's coming home to roost, coming home to bite you in your ample ass. And I, for one, am here for it. I'm okay with it because, one, it only highlights the close relationship, the best friend status that Donald Trump held with Jeffrey Epstein, a notorious abuser, a criminal against the most innocent among us, children. And Donald Trump's close relationship with his pubic hair signature on the card saying, here's to another year of wonderful secrets, Jeffrey. And against all odds, it seems as though maybe it's sticking. Last night, Aaron Burnett had Mark Epstein, the brother, the sibling of Jeffrey Epstein, on. And they talked about this attempt to distance Donald Trump from Jeffrey Epstein. And here's a firsthand observer, family of the notorious child predator, who says it's just all an attempt to cover Donald Trump's butt, I think is how he phrases it. Here's Aaron Burnett. I want to play a little bit of this clip, fewer than 2 minutes, less than just a minute 45 or something. I think a very important part of their conversation, and I hope you think so too. Watch this.
Now, okay, Mark, Trump admits they had a falling out with your brother. That's what he said happened. He has not shared what led to it. But here are some of the things that he has been willing to say about your brother. I want to play them for you.
I was not a fan of Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of a club. I didn't want anything to do with him. Jeffrey Epstein was not somebody that I respected.
That does not fit with what you're telling me, Mark.
Yeah, I understand it doesn't. But he's trying to cover his butt. I mean, look, I understand people trying to distance themselves from Jeffrey because of what he was charged with and the circumstances he found himself in. I understand that. But I know that they were good friends, and I witnessed it myself.
You mentioned something a moment ago that made me think of this, something that the White House told us yesterday. We talked to a woman who accused your brother of sexual assault, and she also talked about an encounter with Trump at your brother's office. This was in 1995. She found it disturbing. She said she told the FBI twice to look into people around your brother, including Trump. But she talked about this incident that she said happened in his office. And the White House, their response to us, Mark, they were categorical. They said, quote, the president was never in Epstein's office. Is that true?
That's just another blatant lie, because he was there. The people that worked for Jeffrey in his office, you can find them. They can testify that they saw Trump in Jeffrey's office on numerous occasions. So for him to say he wasn't there, all I can say is that's just another lie.
He's absolutely trying to cover his butt, as Mark Epstein said there. And let's set aside Mark's categorization of his brother. I understand why he wants to distance himself from, the things that Jeffrey was charged with and the circumstances that he found himself in. He didn't find himself, wake up one day, oh, these are weird circumstances that I'm in. He put himself there. He abused children. He raped young girls. He didn't find himself in a situation. Oh, what a wily predicament that I found myself in. Mark Epstein, your brother is a vile criminal against children. He wasn't just charged with things. He was convicted of things and got a sweetheart deal by Donald Trump's former labor secretary when he was the U.S. attorney in Florida. But we'll set that all aside, as I said I would and then didn't. This is someone who was on the ground, who knows Donald Trump. If not for the fact that there are dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of photos of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein together, arm in arm, pals to the end. It is ridiculous for Donald Trump to assert, and even MAGA world knows, even the cult sees it and knows that it strains reality. It doesn't line up with absolutely everything we know about Donald Trump. Pals, friends, sending birthday cards, flying on the jet, all of this. And it's not going away. And even Donald Trump doesn't know how to make it go away. Certainly not when he's posting about it on True Social every single day about the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. If he really wanted it to go, he would just stop talking about it and hope that the media will let it go. Hope that people in independent media will let it go. I, for one, am not. In fact, when I talk about the stories that are meant to be distractions, I make a point to say, this is a distraction from this. We're going to talk about it as such.
We did all this for the American people because that's what we're hearing about.
But you did use subpoena power with Hunter Biden.
It will come as no surprise to you that I believe, and I believe, you know it to be true, that the Republican Party is replete, filled, chock full of hypocrites. And even though we know it, it is still nice to revel, to luxuriate, to celebrate the moments where they really let the mask slip and are outed on major corporate media shows as such, as vile hypocrites who are here to protect Donald Trump, to shield Donald Trump from the reality of his best friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, a notorious raper of children for decades. And Jason Smith is one of these vile, weirdo hypocrites, but also just feckless. The Republican Party used to be an organization. It was always pretty sinister, but they had some skill sets. They had some talent on the bench. It's just not that way anymore. It's B team, C team, D team at the highest levels of leadership in the party. Jason Smith from Missouri, congressman, is the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, maybe arguably the most powerful committee in the entirety of the House of Representatives. Hugely powerful. And traditionally, you have someone in that position who is politically adroit, who is skillful at appropriation and understanding the system of legislation, of committee work. It takes someone who's seasoned. It takes someone who's a good messenger, who can communicate the policy objectives. But generally, it's someone who has expertise, both politically and legislatively, right? You need this. And that's just not the case with little Jason Smith. Jason Smith yesterday was on CNN with Casey Hunt and was being asked about the subpoena power of his powerful committee. And in the moment, he's like, well, I'm not going to subpoena anything related to Jeffrey Epstein because it's not of importance right now. If it had any import on the lives of Americans, like bringing prices down and bringing healthcare prices down and wages up, we would absolutely do it. But it's just not important. And then it gets pointed out, obviously, that, well, you subpoenaed over the Hunter Biden thing. Oh, yeah, well, that only happened one time. It's just it is so good. It's one of those moments that it comes along every once in a while, and we just have to talk about it. We have to share it. We have to, in order that, this is why we do it, that people out there will recognize, people who are on the fence, whether they be independents or rationality curious, reality curious conservatives, that maybe they are just liars. Maybe the shell game of what's important and what is not isn't appropriate for these moments of such import. Anyway, watch this yesterday. And by the way, let me say this. This was done masterfully well by Casey Hunt. I don't have always a lot of praise for people at CNN, for the work of CNN. But this is one of those moments where she let him talk just long enough to have her follow-up be as impactful as it could be. Watch this and let me know on the other side what you think.
Subpoena point. Would you ever use subpoena power to try to find out more information about Jeffrey Epstein?
Well, you may use subpoena powers at any point. That is not a common thing that I have utilized within the Ways and Means Committee. But if I felt like that it was a priority for Americans, then of course. But like I said, this has not been something that's been a driving force. What people's cared about is the cost to put food on their table or the cost to put clothes on their backs. That's the focus they've had, or whether increase wages. And that is what our focus has been on the Ways and Means Committee. That's why we passed the one big beautiful bill, did no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, tax relief for seniors, an increased child tax credit, increased standard deduction. We did all this for the American people because that's what we're hearing about.
But you did use subpoena power with Hunter Biden.
Exactly. We have the authority to use it, but that is the only time that I have used it. Like I said, our focus has been delivering relief for working families, small businesses, and farmers. That should be the priority. Epstein is not the priority of everyday American who's working 9 to 5, just trying to put food on their table, clothes on their backs, and gasoline in their cars. That is not their focus.
All right, fair enough. And of course, I do take your point. Massive piece of legislation, Donald Trump's agenda did get through your committee, through the House of Representatives.
Would you ever use the subpoena power to find out more about this Epstein debacle? Oh, that's not a common thing that we do within the House Ways and Means Committee. No. If I felt like it was a priority for Americans, I would do so, he says. It's not something that's been a driving force, he said with his childlike voice. People care about the cost of food, he says. They care about the cost of clothes on our backs, but not that. And then the follow-up. These are moments that we need to spread far and wide. They are among some of the most important from a messaging standpoint, from a communication standpoint, from a changing hearts and minds standpoint. The bad news would be if the Republican Party started catching on and they started putting more talented, better communicators, better messengers in positions of power like this. The good news is I don't think they have it. Again, I think their bench is real weak, very shallow.
So I guess we have some more technical problems.
You know the hillbilly foghorn leghorn of senators from Louisiana, John Kennedy? The guy who likes to put on the accent. He's a super good hayseed, y'all. You gotta believe him. Because he's got a voice like this. He's like a Western cartoon character from like the 1950s. And he puts on that voice. He is a Democrat turned Republican. And as soon as he switched parties, he really started laying it on thick with that voice. Well, yesterday, there was a troubling, concerning, alarming moment that happened on Fox Business with Larry Kudlow when the 73-year-old John Kennedy seemed to glitch out. He had his own personal Mitch McConnell moment where he's in the middle of saying a phrase that he's fond of saying that, well, Jesus loves him, but everybody else thinks he's an idiot or a dummy or an asshole or whatever he says. And he freezes in the moment. He glitches out in the moment. And they try to blame it on the microphone, but you can hear the background in the room he's standing in. It's not his mic. We can hear him. There's even like I'll replay the clip here when you watch it, and there's like a noise in the background, like somebody's concerned, like a who, there's like a lady's voice, if I remember it right. We're going to play this. We're going to talk about this. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the problem with having these ill people representing constituencies, like going back to Mitch McConnell and his moment where he froze. It's concerning. Anyway, we'll watch this very troubling moment on Fox Business yesterday. and then we'll talk about some of the elements within the video.
I'm sure Jesus loves them, but everybody else thinks everybody else.
So I guess we had some more technical problems. That was the same mic as we lost with Senator Rand Paul. Awful sorry to hear that, because everybody respects what Senator John Kennedy has to say.
Whoa. You know it's Fox Business. You know it's Fox News. You know it's Rupert Murdoch owned when they finish with that, because everybody respects what Senator John Kennedy has to say. Sir, I object on behalf of my entire audience. No, not everyone respects everything Foghorn Leghorn has to say, even when he glitches out on live international television. Remember why this is so important. If this was a one-off, I could understand, but it's not. It's not even a one-off in the Republican Party. Mitch McConnell, I think it was back in 2023, it's been a while now, he walks out to the podium, to the microphone to talk about legislative agenda items, and he completely loses it. Completely goes catatonic, to where the senators around him who were jockeying and grab-assing behind him all of a sudden become very, very worried. Remember this moment.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We're on a path to finishing the NDA. This week has been good bipartisan cooperation and a string of
Okay, Mitch? Anything else you want to say, or should we just go back to your office? Do you want to say anything else to the press? Let's go back.
Go ahead, John.
I'll take it back. Let's go back to you.
Go ahead, John.
And it wasn't even the first time, the only time. That was the first, we believe, the first public time. But it certainly wasn't the only time with Mitch McConnell. Only a few months later, just a little while later, he had this happen when being asked about running for re-election.
what are my thoughts about what?
Running for re-election in 2026.
That's
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026? All right, I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute. Senator Benny.
Yep.
head outside, so come with us. Okay.
Talking louder into his ear doesn't seem to work, lady. He's gone. Republican senators were asked about this, and among them was John Kennedy. He was asked about this. I'm going to play this video, this vertical video from the Washington Post, where they asked multiple members of the Senate, including John Kennedy. And we'll talk about that, including what may have happened to John Kennedy.
Do you have concerns about Minority Leader McConnell's health after yesterday?
No, I saw him in the evening. He was strong, spoke well, so hope this episode's behind us.
Mitch is fine. Do you own a pair of boots? They don't wear out, do they? Mitch is like a pair of boots. He's that tough. He's fine. He had a concussion. I think he may have some after effects of it. He's tougher than a $3 steak, and that hasn't changed.
I talked to him. Mine on the floor. So.
Excuse me, Senator, are you concerned about Minority Leader McConnell's health after yesterday?
No, he came back later in the day. It's my understanding that he was just feeling lightheaded.
I wasn't there for the press conference, but Senator McConnell was on the floor of the Senate last night. They seemed to be perfectly fine.
So he got a concussion. He knocked his head. He got brained a little bit, and that's why. I guess we could speculate as to what happened with John Kennedy. Maybe it has something to do with this.
Quote, I got a new strap-on harness today. I can't wait to put it on you. It will fit my favorite dildo perfectly. You're going to look so hot. I can't wait to have your cock in my mouth. I'm going to give you the blowjob of your life. Then I want you inside of me. End quote.
Oh, some videos I'm not able to put a sponsorship in. I'm not able to put an ad in because, she's underwear. They don't want their product. Following that, I would assume. Anyway, I wish I could say that I hope he's well. I don't care. These people have done so much damage to the country. They, on a daily basis, put people's lives at risk. They defend the mass deportation effort, the masked secret police of Donald Trump, harming people dying in ICE custody. So look, you can go elsewhere if you're seeking empathy or sympathy on my part for this. I'm saving what little I have for people who deserve it. People who aren't actively harming others on a daily basis. What do you think, though? Where am I wrong? Where am I right? Let's have a conversation about this in the comments. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily at dollemore.com.
Senator, should Barack Obama go to prison?
Well, that'd be up to a judge and a jury, not me. It's got to be charged first, but is there something to look at? Yes.
Right now, the chief distraction fabricated by Donald Trump to try to get America to stop paying attention to his decades-long best friendship with legendary child predator Jeffrey Epstein. The new distraction is Obama created the Epstein files. Hillary Clinton was in on it too. So was James Comey. So was James Clapper and John Brennan. And Sleepy Joe Biden. They were all in on it. It's the most wide-ranging conspiracy the earth has ever known. I think he categorized it yesterday on True Social, or maybe the evening before, as the crime of the century. Again, this is day 5 of the Distractapalooza tour for Donald Trump and the Republican Party. And it is now migrated over to Fox News. Jesse Waters, the sausage-armed, mighty masculine man. The alpha bro. He had Lindsey Graham, another mighty alpha masculine man. And they together came to a masculine opinion. Now I'm just being a dick. About whether or not Obama should be put in prison. And while this is a distraction, absolutely, Donald Trump is a man of retribution. He is a man of revenge. He is a man of distraction. He is a man of crimes against humanity. And so who knows what he'll do. But I find it very interesting that the Supreme Court back in June last year, just over a year ago, ruled that the President of the United States has a new level of immunity from criminal prosecution that has never before been in the law. That if acting in an official capacity, a president could dispatch a SEAL team to assassinate a political rival that they felt was corrupt. This was literally argued before the Supreme Court. And this Supreme Court, 6-3, this Trump Supreme Court said, yes, Donald Trump cannot be prosecuted for any of his crimes because he was president of the United States. And apparently that makes him a king. So the right loved this ruling. They love it. They love that Donald Trump cannot be prosecuted, but they don't think that it applies to any other president. It's immunity for Trump, but no other president. So here's the clip of Jesse Waters. The first question out of his fucking mouth to Lindsey Graham is, do you think Obama should go to prison?
Senator Lindsey Graham joins prime time. All right, Senator, should Barack Obama go to prison?
Well, that'd be up to a judge and a jury, not me. He's got to be charged first, but is there something to look at? Yes. Let me tell you why. I know this topic pretty well. So the Christopher Steele dossier that was used to get a warrant against Carter Page proved to be unreliable, and it was used over and over again. Christopher Steele was hired by Hillary Clinton to suggest in 2016 they did not try to start the storyline, the Democrats, that Trump was tied to Russia in a nefarious way is reinventing history. After the election, before President Trump gets sworn in 2017, we now know that Obama met with his intel community who said there's no evidence of Russian interference, and he said, I don't like that result, and the intelligence community changed their assessment. I want to know why and how that happened.
Does that rise to the level of treason?
Treason is a specific crime in our Constitution. I'm not here to try Obama. I'm here to say that to ask questions about this is very much appropriate.
One of the most important aspects of this that you need to take away is that this is absolutely just a measure of conspiracy type thinking where I'm just asking questions. Look, I'm not making accusations. I'm just asking questions. For instance, here's some questions that need to be asked. Does Jesse Waters, what is he hiding with all of his bluster about masculinity? It seems as though, I don't know, I'm just asking questions of whether he's trying to cover up for the fact that he's really secretly gay or something. I don't know. I'm just asking questions, earnest questions. Does that rise to the level of treason, he asks, knowing that the subtext there in conservative circles is the punishment for treason is death, the death penalty. That's where they're going with this. And Lindsey Graham, I'm not here to try Obama. I'm here to say that to ask questions about this is very much appropriate because asking the questions furthers the distraction, further takes the spotlight off Donald Trump and his decades-long friendship with a notorious child predator. They don't want people asking questions about whether Donald Trump likes to kids. That's it. Donald Trump is possibly a child, a raper of kids. And we got to change the subject, y'all. This is no good. It goes further than this. It goes more damaging and dangerous than this. Former Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, the disgraced liar and conspiracy theorist, pardoned by Donald Trump for his crimes against the country, foreign agent. He is on the show of another paid Russian stooge, Benny Johnson, and they're talking about confiscating the passport of Barack Obama. And that is because they believe Barack Obama is going to flee. He's going to leave the country for fear of prosecution for the things he did that apparently he doesn't have immunity for, but Donald Trump does. Watch this.
What do you see happening next?
Yeah, well, a couple of things. I have made this recommendation that I think that all of these people that are involved, starting with Obama on down, they all ought to have their passports revoked. And people need to be checking private airplanes and private airfields for anybody trying to abscond the country and get the heck out of Dodge here. So that's number one. I do think that just as was done to President Trump when they raided his home at Mar-a-Lago, because they thought that there was, and they planted evidence there in that case. But I do think that what the DOJ should be considering, if not getting ready to conduct, is a raid of Barack Obama's home up there at Kalorama in Washington, D.C., where he's been since he physically left the White House. He's been running the White House, all during the Biden regime. And I do think that there's some other places that need to be raided where there are likely, a lot of evidence, a lot of receipts, so to speak, in many of these people that are part of the Obama White House as well as the Biden White House. I mean, I just heard the great David Schoen talking about the former Deputy Attorney General Monaco, who also was the Homeland Security Advisor to Barack Obama. So that's number one. Those are things that need to be considered right now. And I was ready to wake up this morning to hear about some of these raids that should have been going on. There should, as a minimum, be a task force assembled by of federal law enforcement authorities, as well as a assigned, dedicated prosecutor at the DOJ level, at the Attorney General level, someone who is working directly for her and for the President of the United States. This has got to happen very quickly.
Odd that he named the neighborhood that Obama lives in here in D.C. or owns a home in here in D.C. I don't know how often they're there. A little strange that he mentions the neighborhood. I mean, it's easy to find the address, just Google it. But it's a little weird that he was so granular with the detail there that he wants to mention the neighborhood that has round-the-clock Secret Service protection, by the way. All of these people involved, starting with Obama, should have their homes raided and their passports revoked because they're a flight risk. Why would Obama think he needs to leave when he has immunity granted by the Supreme Court of these United States for anything he did in an official capacity as president of the United States? But why? Why would he do that? I thought that was a presidential power, that is a guaranteed protected right under the Constitution for presidents to be treated like a king. No? Oh, just Donald Trump. Great. Got it. That's me acting like I'm writing stuff down.
I just told the folks that are here that the only minority destroying America is the billionaires. I mean, the people at the top, the Elon Musks, the Rupert Murdochs, they use their wealth and their power to divide us intentionally.
I talk a lot about messaging, about communication, about changing hearts and minds on this channel. And I like to highlight politicians who are good at it. And James Salarico is a guy from Texas. He's in the state legislature right now, who is among a small crop of Democratic leaders who are the future of this party. I count among them the Pete Buttigieg types. He's a little moderate for my sake, but I like him. I think he's fantastic as a communicator. I think Gavin Newsom is another one, even though I loathe him, and I think that he courts the right wing and he is not genuine. He's tossing trans kids to the wolves. But against him or Donald Trump, I'm going to vote for Gavin Newsom every day. Or once. It's an election. We don't want to promote anything other than appropriate action relative to our elections, right? And James Salarico is another one of these guys. Look, they are young, they are dynamic, they are smart, they communicate well. He's one of them. Zoran Mamdani, AOC, Jasmine Crockett. There's so many out there. And these are the people we need to raise up. These are the people we need to signal boost. These are the people we need to promote, both promotion-wise, but also to promote them to higher levels of authority and leadership in our government. He was on with Jen Psaki yesterday on MSNBC, and I have two clips I want to play for you. One is speaking the language that so many people in this country speak, with their kind of Christianese, if you will. There are certain turns of phrase and philosophies that get talked about, that were preached by, that were taught by, that were lived by Jesus the Christ. And apparently James Salarico's father was a minister. And he traffics in this information and talks like a Christian. He thinks like a Christian. And that's, I think, what we need in certain areas of the country right now to communicate the damage and the danger and the deleterious impact that Donald Trump's policies have to Christians, because they fly in the face of the philosophies taught in the New Testament by Jesus, not Paul, by Jesus himself in the red letters. Here's the first clip, and then we're going to go on to what the evil of money in politics has done, but that'll be later. Watch this.
But my granddad was a Baptist preacher in South Texas, to answer your question. And he taught me at a very early age that we follow a barefoot rabbi who gave 2 commandments, love God and love neighbor. And he told me that there is no love of God without love of neighbor. That means that every single person bears the image of the sacred. Every single person is holy. Every single person counts. And that's what this American democracy is founded on, that self-evident truth that all people are created equal. And so that's what motivates my work at the legislature. It's what motivated my work in the classroom, seeing the image of God in everyone, no matter how much money you make, no matter who you pray to, no matter who you love. And I think that is something we desperately need again in this country. And so I'm so thankful we as a party are having that conversation about how to reclaim faith and how to root our politics in something deeper than partisanship.
I grew up Catholic, and I went to Catholic school, and I got confirmed, and like so many people feel disconnected from faith. It is something you so naturally speak about. And one of the issues where it feels so disconnected, especially loving thy neighbor, that's something you learn when you're in elementary school, when you're growing up and learning teachings in so many religions, is immigration. And what we've seen is a cruel crackdown on immigrants across the country. And I raise this issue because for you, as somebody who thinks about faith and how it impacts how you govern in such a fundamental way, it must feel incredibly discordant to see what's happening in communities across the country and what ICE is doing, really terrorizing people and families.
More of this. More of this. Jesus he summed up the 10 commandments in 2. You just heard him. Love the Lord thy God with all your heart, soul, mind, effort, energy, oomph, and love your neighbor as yourself. That was it. That was it. And if you accomplish those 2, you are living up to the 10 commandments. And to boil it down even further, I like that. That as long as you're loving your neighbor as yourself, you've got the other one on lock too. And when we are endeavoring to brutally victimize other people who we have otherized, you're not living up to the edicts of Jesus. It's like the clip yesterday with Jeff Daniels, the actor. He's like, well, what would Jesus say about this? If Jesus came down today and he's like, all right, guys, I'm here, what would he have to say looking around and seeing what he sees? Cops openly, publicly abusing people, elderly migrant people dying in ICE custody, in gulags, in concentration camps. I think it's very clear what Jesus would say and think. The next question, this kind of wrapped the interview. That was at the beginning. This is toward the end of like a 13, 14, 15-minute interview. And in this one, they're talking about the problem with money in politics. And this is the kind of communicating that we need to break the shell of people who spend their days, people who will never be wealthy, people who will never see the kind of wealth that even basic millionaires have, who are grandstanding in defense of billionaires. People, I fundamentally think people don't understand just how wealthy someone with $1 billion is. Like, imagine winning the lottery and you won $10 million. That would fundamentally change your life. Well, 10 million is nothing to a billionaire. A billionaire has $1,000 million. And if you got 2 billion or 200 billion, it's just orders of magnitude insane money. James Tallarico seems to get that. And I'm here for it. Watch this.
What worries you the most about the growing influence of money in politics? You're seeing it front and center in your own state.
Yeah, I just told the folks that are here that the only minority destroying America is the billionaires. I mean, the people at the top, the Elon Musks, the Rupert Murdochs, these 2 billionaires in Texas, Tim Dunn and Ferris Wilks, they use their wealth and their power to divide us intentionally, because our unity, whether you're a Democrat, an independent, or Republican, us being united is a threat to their wealth and power. And so they use their social media algorithms, their cable news networks, in the case of Fox News, to tear us apart. And I think that people, no matter what your party is, are really sick of how politics feels. They're tired of how it divides families, how it ends friendships. I mean, you can be a part of this political conversation, and most people walk away just feeling awful. So there is, I think, a hunger out there, again, on both sides of the aisle, to change this political system so that it can actually work for people, so that we can have conversations respectfully, even when we disagree. I mean, that is the foundation of democracy. On Joe Rogan's show, I talked about how my faith teaches me to love my enemies, to love my opponents. I have no problem having opponents like I do in the Texas House when I'm fighting for universal health care and public schools. But I am still called to love those opponents, to see them as children of God, to see them as sacred and holy. I think that teaching to love our enemies, that is the key to saving democracy, not just here in America, but around the world. We have to be able to talk to each other again, because imagine who we could take on. Imagine what we could do with these wealthy special interests if we did it together.
We need more and better communicators in the Democratic Party, and James Tallarico is one. He is but one. And we need him. Look, we need talent like this at the state level, absolutely. But when you get a generational talent like this, and look, I don't know all of his policies. I don't know if he's exactly as progressive as I would like. Like I say, I've got criticism for people who are trying to maintain that middle, that moderate position, because I think it's selling out. When you live in fascism, moderation ain't going to get it done. It's not going to change the world. It's not going to defeat the enemy. It's going to take radicalism. And unfortunately, in today's world, the status quo is it's a radical position to speak against billionaires. Not in my book, not in my family, not in my household, not among my friends, but to too many. Too many Democrats even.
God can do anything he wants to. Stephen Colbert, bye-bye.
Have I got to wait? Whoa. Have I got a doozy for you? Kent Christmas is one of these evangelical nutter butters. These types who can't catch their breath while they're preaching. Like, he really is he's a meme. He's the thing that people make fun of on Saturday Night Live or comedy shows, but he's playing the bit real. He's playing it straight like it's a real deal. Very weird. He's a self-proclaimed prophet of God. He thinks he's got the bat phone to Jesus, that he can boop, 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 dial up Jesus Christ at any time and get the word from on high. And in this clip I'm getting ready to show you, he has communicated with God while he's packing a giant sword around the stage like a weirdo, and says that actually it was God, Jesus, is the one who had Stephen Colbert fired. Not CBS, it was God. And The View, the ladies of The View are next. Now, before I play the clip, I just want to remind everybody, I get a lot of questions about my upbringing and the church I was raised in and the type of flavor of Christianity into which I was indoctrinated. This is it. If you're wondering what Sunday morning service was like for little Jesse D, this is it. There was an ever evolving, revolving door of these types of pastors in my life as a child. This is it. So let's watch this clip and remember, this is real. He's not doing a bit here. This is a real church with this real pastor with a real congregation that is eating up every single word out of his mouth.
I will never, no matter what happens, I will never leave thee and I will never forsake thee. May God, listen, if you feel like if life ain't worth living, get a hold of the scripture that says, the joy of the Lord is my strength. I declare by the word of the Lord that God over this nation, strongholds in politics. God can do anything he wants to. Stephen Colbert, bye-bye. God shut down The View. I know I'm controversial today. Make no apologies for it. They don't make any apologies, so we're not taking any apologies. Hallelujah. Listen, God said that whatever we come into agreement with, the Lord will do it. See, the world isn't used to churches like this. They want us to be politically correct while they pull their own mess behind the scenes. But God, hallelujah, if he be for us, nobody can be against us. Part of the problem is we got intimidated by the enemy and we wanted the world to like us. But the Bible says he who is a friend of the world is an enemy of God. There are children of the devil and there are children of the righteous.
I will never let it happen. I will never forsake thee, said the Lord. That's a real deal. That guy's he's really, you're going with it, huh? You're just doubling down on it, huh, Kent Christmas? I mean, the name is enough already, but really, you're just leaning right into it. And apparently, God told me he was going to fire Stephen Colbert. Catch your breath, Kent. Catch your breath. The danger and the problem here lies in the fact that this man has a church filled with people who hang on his every word. This is a man who says things like, touch not God's anointed, or you will be a curse upon the land. This is the kind of shit that he says. That if you criticize me as a prophet of God, you will be accursed. God will come for you. Touch not God's anointed. He treats himself as though he is a Moses-like character, a communicator with God Almighty, the creator of everything seen and unseen. How lucky for Kent Christmas. How arrogant for Kent Christmas. Anyway, again, this is my faith tradition. I was taught that these people were like Moses, that you should not touch God's anointed. You do not criticize them. I was raised thinking that, like Kenneth Copeland, that nut, the COVID, I blow you, COVID, that guy was like a real prophet of God, a real mighty, righteous man of Jesus, an exemplary representation of the Christ here on earth. What? Anyway, what do you think? I love to hear from people who didn't grow up in this nuttiness and hear what they think. But if you did grow up in it, I'd love to hear from you too. You can comment below. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. Man, I am grateful to be out of that. I have immense feeling of luck that I was able to extricate myself by whatever means. I don't know how it happened, but it happened. Because that is crazy. Anyway, I love and appreciate you very much. If you want to help support this work, if you appreciate what I do, if you're an ex-evangelical, I think that's what they call themselves. I guess that's what I should call myself. And you want to help support this work, help me reach the millions of people that I do every month, please consider it. For $2 a month, I guess this is where I pass the the offering plate around, you know, the little gold, looks like a Frisbee with like red felt at the bottom or velvet at the bottom. That's what ours look like. Actually, we also had these like velvet pouches with like wooden handles on the end too. That was one that we had. Anyway, this is me passing around the offering plate. $2 a month, you can help support this work. $2 a month, you can help me do what I do here, produce these videos. Click the join button below for just that. $2 a month, become a channel member, or you go to my holy Patreon site, patreon.com/I doubt it podcast. All right, all the jokes are over. I love and appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.